Truth. Back to y'all with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about Matt Ryan and the recent trade. And it sent maybe a little bit of shocks from around the league. But I predicted this trade yesterday with my video with the Atlanta Falcons and why the Colts will be a perfect option for Matt Ryan, especially with the offensive line and they having one of the best offensive lines in the league. So this was definitely a win-win trade for them. I was a little shocked they only got a third-round pick for somebody like Matt Ryan, who has led a team to a Super Bowl, who's a four-time Pro Bowler, and he has won an MVP. But those are past accolades, and we're talking about what's right now. And the NFL is what have you done recently type league. And lately, Matt Ryan, even though he's been very productive, Atlanta is looking for a rebuild, and I think they're looking at another quarterback in this year's draft to go move on. And I would think that would be Malik Willis, who's probably people are gonna compare it probably to the Michael Vick experience in Atlanta. But that's another story. We're talking about Matt Ryan, and I think this is a great fit for the Colts, who are coming off of trading Carson Wentz, who they were very disappointed at the end of the season, losing that last game of the season to the Jaguars, which was a very disappointing loss. And I was very disappointed at Carson Wentz and his performance in that game, and there was no excuses why they shouldn't have won that game. With a Michael Pittman and a Paris Campbell and a Jonathan Taylor, this team is looking to win a Super Bowl underneath Frank Wright and his offensive system. And I think this is a perfect fit for somebody like a Matt Ryan, who's a veteran quarterback who's looking for a win now situation. And I think this trade benefits both teams. Now Matt Ryan, he's been a solid quarterback ever since he's entered this league. He's never thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. He's posted a QBR of over 90, not even these last 3 seasons, but these last 5 seasons. So that's pretty good, and I think he's been very productive. In 2021, he's thrown for 20 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, but that was only his. But that was just with limited targets. I know Calvin Ridley. We know what happened with him. His recent suspension for the year-long suspension, and overall the Colts can benefit from this trade. Coming from the AFC South, competing with the Houston Texans, who are going to be probably not even competitive this year. They're in rebuild mode. You got the Tennessee Titans. Just seeing how Ryan Tannehill left out that season, I don't think the Tennessee Titans might have a down year, especially with Derrick Henry coming back off that foot, and you don't know how he's going to return. One thing about Derrick Henry, nobody's talking about. He has a lot of carries, a lot of carries, a lot of mileage. So I'm wondering how are he's going to respond. And you got the Jacksonville Jaguars, who they're still rebuilding, even though they splurged in free agency lately. You're wondering what they can be and how they are, especially underneath somebody like a Doug Marrone, and see what he can do. Taking a year off from being fired from Philly. But this is a team from the Colts who are looking to win now. This is a very good team. They still have a lot to win. They still have a lot to play for. This is a play to win move. It's just interesting that all the quarterbacks went from the NFC to the AFC. So I wonder how Matt Ryan is going to affect the Indianapolis Colts. And overall, I do think this is a Super Bowl caliber team, but I don't know if this is a Super Bowl winning team, because is Matt Ryan, even though he's a good quarterback, he's an average quarterback a little bit. He's good enough to get you to a Super Bowl, but is he good enough to win you a Super Bowl? And that's the biggest question that I think we're going to have. But he's good enough to win the division. I do believe he's going to have a good season. I do think this was a good trade for the Colts. Only giving up a third-round pick for a Matt Ryan, I was shocked. This was just shocking. I thought he may be a third and a fourth, or a 3 and a 5, but just know they got him on cheap. That was a great deal for the Indianapolis Colts. In Atlanta, they're looking into a full rebuild mode, and this was I would say just by the package of the deal, I'm a little shocked that the Atlanta didn't get more for somebody like a Matt Ryan, but I guess they like what they seen in the draft, and they're looking to move on. And Indianapolis, they're underneath that offensive line, and having somebody like a Jonathan Taylor is a very, very good pickup for them. Because we remember when Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman was running in that backfield for Atlanta, and that was the drive for that Super Bowl. People don't remember that Kyle Shanahan, who was working for him, who was working as the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons underneath Dan Quinn. That run game was very important to that offense, and having somebody like a Jonathan Taylor running in the backfield and then Nico Hines, that's going to be a very big dynamic duo for them. And just watch out for them, because we say that, oh, having Matt Ryan is going to be a good pickup, but also we got to think about having Jonathan Taylor, who's going to take some of that pressure off off an older quarterback, because we do got to remember Matt Ryan's 34 years old. He's been in this league for a while, but having somebody like a Jonathan Taylor taking off some of that pressure off of a older quarterback, having those offensive weapons in a Paris Campbell, and Michael Pittman is going to do very good for somebody like a Matt Ryan. And just watch out for the Indianapolis Colts. They're going to come. I don't think they're going to shock a lot of teams. They're going to make the playoffs, of course, but I just wonder what happens when they'll make the playoffs. Can they compete with somebody like a Baltimore, the Chiefs, the Chargers? You got Denver now. The AFC is just looking crazy, and I think it's going to be very, very competitive. Even though the Indianapolis Colts do have a roster that can compete with most teams, can they win? And when it comes down to December, January and February, if they get to the Super Bowl. So this is just this was, I want to say, the grade I would give this. I would give for the Indianapolis Colts, I would give this a A. I would give it an A, just from the simple fact they only had to give up a third-round pick. They're bringing a quarterback who's mature, who's older in his career. He played a lot of football. You know what you're getting out of a Matt Ryan. You're getting a game manager, a good, great. There's nothing wrong with a game manager. He's not going to make plays that are too crazy, but he's not going to make the big mistakes that are going to plague you, just like a Carson Wentz. I'll give Atlanta a C, just from the simple fact you only got a third-round pick. To me, I thought you could at least get a flip Matt Ryan for 2 picks, but I guess the quarterback market, you see Baker Mayfield out there, and you see a Jimmy Garoppolo still hanging around with the 49ers, and you wonder what that situation could be. But Matt Ryan, out of those two quarterbacks I named, is their best option, and I'm not mad at the Indianapolis Colts. I guess they didn't see a pick that they liked, especially with where they're picking at, or if they felt like they should move up to pick a quarterback. But having a Matt Ryan is definitely still a good place for them to be at. And I have them actually winning the AFC South. I think it was a great pick for them. Let me know what your thoughts and your opinion. Do you think Matt Ryan's a good, still has a lot left in the tank? Do you feel like he's going to win the division? Because you could honestly say the move that the Jaguars made, you can say they're in the running to win the AFC South. The Tennessee Titans, we can't forget about them. But like I said, Ryan Tannehill, is he better than a Matt Ryan? No, I don't think Ryan Tannehill is better than a Matt Ryan. And can we argue that with the season that we see from a Trevor Lawrence, is he going to prove that he's better than Ryan Tannehill? So that's just going to be interesting to see. Give me your thoughts. Give me your opinions. Tone out. Thank you.